It was not the best of weeks for the Big Ten, but it wasn't all bad. We look ahead to week 3. UCLA's a mess. Iowa might be worse somehow. We're talking about it all on today's Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Gametime. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to this week's Locked On Big Ten Squad. I'm your host, Spencer McLaughlin, neutral arbiter of all things college football, with a very neutral take that Oregon's winning the national championship. This is finally the year for the Ducks. Obviously, Zach Anderson Yoxheimer of Locked On Bruins is here. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes. Nick Arvin, Locked On Boilermakers. Roman Tomashoff, not in the bottom right. I told you it was a coincidence the last times, from Locked On Huskies. Craig Sheeman, Locked On Big Ten. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. Ryan Herrings, Locked On Badgers. And Zach Sako of Locked On Nittany Lions. How good are the FIU Panthers going to be? So unbelievably good this year. But Zach, we need to start with UCLA. Yikes. Man, yikes. This is a UNLV team that's been in the same place for like 2 weeks, and they almost lost to Idaho State on their home field week 1, and they had a 23-3 lead against the Bruins at the half and went on to win 30-23. It wasn't a great week for the Big Ten in the non-conference slate. It wasn't all bad. Michigan State, we'll talk about them, give them their flowers later. They did well. Illinois had a great win, but Michigan loses, UCLA loses, Iowa still can't throw the ball. Zach, what is going on with the Bruins?
Well, one, their defense can't get a stop to save their lives. They've forced no turnovers in their first couple of games. They've generally struggled to tackle just basic things, basic principles in football defensively. Kind of been out of position in week 1, fixed that in week 2, but still couldn't stop Anthony Calandria. And then the offense hasn't clicked. It finally started to click in the second half. But overall, embarrassing. A lot of penalties in week 2. You thought that could have been a non-issue from close to zero penalties in week 1. But just the embarrassment continues from you bring in Nico, you expect everything to be fine and dandy. That's not the case, and maybe Deshaun Foster is certainly in over his head.
Just a quick show of hands before I get to Jay. Whomst amongst us here thinks that tackling is important in college football? That's actually, unanimous. Okay. Yeah. You should communicate that to the Bruins, though. Jay, the Big Ten had a great win in week 1 when your Ohio State Buckeyes knocked off the Texas Longhorns. Not as good last week. What do you make of the teams that just could not get it done this week?
It happens. You're going to have teams early in the year that just flop and can't get it done. You mentioned earlier, I don't know if you mentioned in the open or not, but Iowa. Just talk about UCLA, Michigan. I mean, there's teams that you got a new quarterback at Iowa with Gronowski. Do you think it's going to be a little bit different? Yes, but it's not. And we kind of got a little bit of sense of that in week 1. With Michigan, you have a true freshman quarterback. Going on the road to Norman, do you expect a true freshman quarterback, I don't care how good you are, to go to that place and win? No. But these are things that you expect with certain teams that have new faces in new places and are relying on guys to be quarterbacks that they probably shouldn't be expected to be doing really big things in these moments. So the Michigan thing should have been expected to be a loss. That whole team's a mess anyway. But it's expected early in the year. Take your lumps, get your losses, fix things by the middle of the season, and then start winning some games.
Jay's just secretly so happy that it was Michigan that lost a big game to Oklahoma. Nick, Purdue's off to a 2-0 start. No one really cares just yet, but hey, it's 2 wins. It's 2 wins for the Boilermakers. It could be the only 2 all year, but you know what? It's 2. It's not 0. They have more wins than Iowa and UCLA combined. What do you make of that, Nick?
Well, last year. I mean, you win the games. You win the games. I mean, that is true. You double your win total last year. They were 1-11 last year.
Woo!
I mean, yeah, they were.
Look out.
You win the games that you're supposed to win, so you can't knock Purdue. You win 31-0 against Ball State. You cover the spread. That's all you're supposed to do in that one. Going against Southern Illinois, You win in decent fashion. That first half was a little rocky, but you show a resilient effort, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Looking forward to this week at USC. We've talked about that one, Spencer. It's not one that you have to win to turn some heads, but if you are able to go into Ross-Ade Saturday, if you're able to compete with the Trojans, keep that one a low-scoring game, and win that time of possession battle, you have a real opportunity to show people that this is a new era of Purdue football.
Can I jump in? Hold on, really
Yeah,
quick.
I'll allow that. I don't know why, but I'm going to allow it.
I don't want to spoil too much. Nick, you're here the whole time, right? Because you're still claiming that Purdue beats USC this weekend. Are you still riding on that?
So I had two outcomes, and I got roasted.
No,
I'm sticking to my guns. But I got roasted for it because I did a thing with Spencer, and I had two outcomes. I think if Purdue is able to win the time of
Just to be clear, we did a segment together.
Yeah, I apologize.
The two outcomes being a win or a loss, right?
We did a thing together.
Yes, but I think that if it's a close game, if it's a low-scoring game, there is an opportunity. I will stick with my guns, say that Purdue wins a low-scoring game. Okay. But in the event that Jaden Mayava and the USC Trojans, they come in and that offense is as good as they have shown the first 2 weeks, I think there is a also good opportunity that Purdue gets blown out.
Okay. All right. Well, at least he's coming to see reason, guys. Look, we got to cut him some slack. New kid on the block. Roman Tomashoff, Locked On Huskies, not the newest kid on the block here at the network, of course. So
I don't know what kind of intro that is, but I'll take it.
What you normally get.
I don't know. I don't know why the was it the excitement because they made an FCS team look like an FCS team? Is that where the faux excitement was coming from? I don't know.
No, it feels like that's the nicest thing you've said to me in months. So I think that deserves some kind of fake excitement there. No, it was nice to see, and Jonah Coleman has looked like one of, if not the best player in the country so far through 2 weeks. I know I came on the show a couple weeks ago and said,
you watched Dante Moore throw passes? Yeah, he just said best player in the country. He hasn't watched Dante Moore throw a pass.
Oh, I have.
Somebody told me to say that.
Dante Moore?
Does any other running back in the country have 7 touchdowns right now? No? Cool. Just checking there. But no, Jonah Coleman has looked fantastic, and it's something where he's changed his body in the offseason. And just you look at the way he's just improved from last year to this year behind a much improved offensive line. Yes, they've beaten Colorado State and UC Davis, but you can only play who's in front of you, and scoring 70 points, going a perfect 9 for 9 on offense, adding a special teams touchdown against UC Davis felt really great because these are things that this Washington team was not doing last season. When you go back and you watch a G5 at an FCS school and they played Weber State and Eastern Michigan, it did not look like this. And it's all because Jonah Coleman and Damon Williams just looked tremendous back there.
Can anyone tell me who the leading rusher in college football is right now at the FBS level?
Jonah Coleman.
Nope.
I'm guessing not. Otherwise, Spencer wouldn't have brought it up if it was Coleman.
Ryan makes an incredibly valid point. I would not. Any guesses out there? It's a pretty sicko piece of knowledge, but
isn't the Appalachian State guy?
You're in the right level of football. It's Robert Henry at UTSA. He's got 336 rushing yards. He's an absolute dude. But anyway, let's get back into this. Craig, you look at the whole Big Ten every single week here on the show, and there were a couple of good outcomes, no doubt. Illinois, great outcome, but I mean, Iowa, UCLA, what do you feel like the league accomplished or failed to accomplish this past weekend?
Well, UCLA is a dumpster fire. That thing's like, imagine if Nico didn't go there. And by the way, he went there for, not more money, wanted a better offense. He's got none of that over there. But let me just blow this whole show up with 2 hot takes. If all of the listeners out there want to check out Locked On Big Ten today, I did a piece. If there was a Heisman vote today, it would be Jonah Coleman, Roman. Check it out at Locked On Big Ten today.
Yeah.
Also, Spencer's soul has left his body.
Another hot take here. Since Mark's not here, is anybody concerned that they gave up 377 yards and 20 points to Georgia Southern before they go to Purdue this weekend? Does anybody remember how they felt going into the Minnesota game or the Maryland game on the road last year? USC lost those games. It would not surprise me if the Purdue Boilermakers pull up the upset of the year this weekend.
Whoa! Look at Nick getting some support here in the chat. Speaking of support, Ryan Herrings of Locked On Badgers always needs our support for so many reasons, but we like you here. Goins, we'll get to you later in the show. But Ryan, for the Big Ten going forward, Do you guys up in Madison think about these big picture sorts of things, or are you just trying to, I don't know, beat Alabama this week?
No, we're gonna go down to Tuscaloosa and have some fun. Listen, we look at the big picture stuff. You know, I had a boss once. We had a really bad employee that he left, and I remember being excited about it. And
was his name like Jacob Goins or something?
It was. I'm not gonna name the name, but like nobody would know him here. Anyway, he was terrible. And my boss said, "It's okay, Ryan. Like, no matter what happens, some other bad employee will fill its spot." So you're looking at the Big Ten, and it's like Indiana went up and UCLA just slid on in there. Like, there's always going to be a team at the bottom. There's always going to be like a horrible thing at the bottom, and it just is what it is. So to me, it's that. To Roman, I think we got to stop normalizing beating bad teams by 70. I don't think like it's just this. Nobody cares. Like if you beat a really bad team by 70. And then to Craig's
Oklahoma
point,
State doesn't count. That's a Power 4 program.
It's a bad team.
That's a Power 4 program.
We got to stop celebrating and talking about beating really bad teams by 70. Like it doesn't matter.
You know,
to Craig's point about running backs and Heisman's really quick. No running back's going to get a Heisman if Melvin Gordon didn't and Monte Ball with 39 touchdowns didn't. It's a quarterback thing.
He had 39 touchdowns.
He had 39 touchdowns and didn't get the Heisman. Melvin Gordon had 27 100 rushing yards and didn't get the Heisman. So it's a quarterback.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
It's 39 touchdowns didn't do it because it's
who beat him
in the ball year? I think was it Ingram won one year, maybe the year before Ball. I know your quarterback got the one. Melvin Gordon should have got a little more consideration.
Whoa. First of all, what is this? I don't have a team. I'm neutral arbiter of all things college football. Secondly, I believe you're referring to Marcus Mariota, who was a magnificent football player and deserved everything he got.
Amari Cooper had more votes that year than Melvin Gordon.
Okay, that's kind of laughable. Okay, I want to wrap with Seiko because Ryan was raising an interesting point that we shouldn't normalize beating bad teams by a bunch. Penn State clearly believes in that philosophy based on this past weekend, right, Seiko? I mean, who needs to go up big at the half against FIU when you could just 10-0 at the break? Let's do it.
I mean, Clemson's operating with the same philosophy. LSU is operating with the same philosophy too, right? You're going to have bad weeks, but I get it. You should be able to, if you're a national title contending team, you should be able to put away that respective opponent very early. So I think Penn State's going to play a little better against Villanova, who another juggernaut that they get to play here.
Is it basketball season already?
Almost is. It's almost wrestling season too over here. So I got that to look forward to. But yeah, the game against FIU was I just think they sleptwalked into that game. I don't think there was any interest. The buzz of the season starting was kind of over. This non-conference schedule really doesn't. There's no juice to it on Penn State side of things. Ask Indiana about it, and they got. I think they're saving all of their energy and emotion for Oregon.
Goins was just so taken aback, like me. Like what the hell did I do?
We get it, bro. We get it.
Yeah. I mean, it can't be.
We're in the same boat, man. Come on.
It can't be repeated enough times. Also, we don't dog on Washington's non-conference schedule enough.
Yeah, because Washington State's on there at least.
Well, yeah, at least you're a step up from Penn State. Congratulations, you have cleared.
From Indiana,
you have jumped over a bar that is 6 inches off the ground. That is.
It's a lot of inches.
Depends on who you ask.
Let's go to break.
I can't.
You can't do a live read right now.
There's no way.
Maybe Ruchi at ready.
I could have picked any other number and it would have been fine.
Yeah. Where's our producer? Brandon, where are you?
Just Spencer now.
All right. I swear to God, I'm a paid professional at some level. We're gonna talk about
how much this gets left in.
It's gonna be all of it. Are you kidding?
Great.
When we get back, we're gonna talk about the good outcomes the Big Ten had and look ahead to week 3. And I swear to God, we're gonna try and talk about football. We may or may not succeed. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at DoorDash. It's almost the weekend, so it's time to look back at last week and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down and start with Luke Altmaier. Big game with several touchdowns in the big win on the road against Duke. They go on the road to Durham and win 45-19 in a game that a lot of college game day experts were picking the Blue Devils to win. Luke Altmaier delivered. The entire Michigan State team delivered a sneaky, nice-ish, kind of, non-conference win against Boston College at home. It went to overtime. It was crazy. East Lansing was on fire. Just like those guys delivered for their teams, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day. Only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Check out DoorDash today. Illinois dominates on the road. That was probably the best thing that happened across the Big Ten all week. Those that are still here are indeed still here. So let's go around and talk about the Illini for a moment. Some people have the Illini power rated as the fourth best team in the Big Ten coming into the season. Nick, do you feel differently about Illinois and where they stack up against the rest of the league after their big win against Duke? Goins, I don't want to hear a peep out of you until I instruct you to speak.
No, I've said since the beginning of this year that I think that Illinois, although rated very high in the opening AP poll, we know that the AP poll doesn't matter at all now based off some of the voters. But it doesn't even matter because Illinois, they're a dark horse. They really showed up. The first half was a little bit rocky at times, but in the second half, they really put their foot on the pedal. And it just goes to show that whenever they face off against the Indiana Hoosiers, they have a very good chance of beating them pretty bad. I don't think that Goins' squad really has a chance because Luke Altmaier is play in his senior year.
Oh, listen to that! Not a chance.
Spencer,
Not
you
a
want
chance.
to switch me and Jacob so we can just
I kind of do. I think I can do that. Yeah, look at this. Okay, Goins. Yeah, go ahead. By the way, Nick, with regards to Illinois going to Bloomington and beating Indiana, great take. I mean, the sharpest of takes, dare I say, worthy of a national college football show type of take. That's just my unbiased look at it. Goins, would you like to respond now that you're in the correct position?
Oh, I'm allowed to speak. Wow.
Yes, you can. I permit you.
Allow me. Since
you have the talking pillow.
Skipped in the first segment and now get dogged on in the second segment. Look, Nick, I understand you're trying to cope with the fact that USC may drop 80 on Purdue when they come to town. But look, Illinois is a good team. Not a great. Duke had 5 turnovers.
Goins. What back of the trailer did you get stashed into once you started talking? The mic is not. You sound like you are 20 feet away from the microphone.
It also slowly trailed
Is it
off.
working now?
Now it's there. There we go. Now he's back. All right, keep going.
Yeah, let me reset. I said that USC's dropping 80 on Purdue in case that didn't get into the first cut. Look, Illinois is a good team, not great. Duke had 5 turnovers in this game. 5 turnovers. And most of those were giveaways, not takeaways by Illinois. They're good, not great. And I don't feel any better or worse about Illinois because they beat Duke in a stadium that I had more people at my high school cross-country meet than they did. So
whoa.
I'm not worried about Illinois at all. They're good, not great, and I didn't learn anything more that we didn't already know about Illinois because they beat Duke.
Seiko, after battling the Panthers, who admittedly have some phenomenally good uniforms, I must say. If you scroll through the team, not that I think about uniforms a lot, but I do. And FIU has some good ones. So I'll give you that. Great uniform team. But after struggling with FIU, do you feel like Illinois is a team that can get closer to you?
I wish Penn State played them this season to really figure that out. They played them last year, and Illinois gave them a fight for the most part. I'm a full believer in Illinois this season. I don't want to say most, but it seemed like there was a strong contingent of people following the sport that said this is a trap game. The line is stinky. This clearly has the sharps are all over Duke, and it's not like Illinois. Okay, there were a lot of giveaways in that game, but Illinois did win 45-19. Okay, this wasn't a 2-score game. This was blown way out of the water here. So I think Illinois with a veteran head coach. You return as much starting production as they did. This is a team that can absolutely make the college football playoff this season. So I don't know why more people aren't putting stock into them. This isn't just, this is a run-of-the-mill type of situation. No, this is a legitimate team that actually has a core, a nucleus that can get to this point of the postseason.
Craig, let me throw this one at you as a overall Big Ten kind of guy with absolutely no affiliation or biases baked into the brain. I tell you, Goins, no one wants to see your shirt. Actually, we'd like to see it on your body and remain there, and that's it. Illinois or Nebraska? Which one do you think looks more impressive so far?
Oh, Illinois. And in my same podcast where I said Jonah Coleman was going to win the Heisman, I said Illinois' Hank Beatty's coming in second. This guy is on fire as a wide receiver, a punt returner. He can run. He's got like 3 touchdowns and like 400 total yards. He broke one of Red Grange's 102-year-old records in week 1. He is phenomenal. However, having said that, they're going to get smoked in a red-out in Bloomington a week from Saturday on NBC on Big Ten Saturday night.
I knew it, Craig. I knew I liked you. I knew you'd come back around.
Bad takes have resumed here on the Locked On Big Ten squad. Roman, one of the high-level opponents that are highly ranked opponents and high-level opponents, frankly, Washington faces this year is Illinois. Do you look at them as a team that can make the Big Ten championship this year?
I look at them as a good team. I don't know if they're a Big Ten championship caliber team as of right now. Right now, I think that when they come to Washington, they're going to lose that game. I think that's going to be a tough environment in a actually full stadium, to Goins' point a couple of minutes ago. And it's one of the things where, like, Zach, you point out that, there were a whole bunch of turnovers in that game. And I think Illinois is a very solid team, but 4 fumbles in that game. I'm pretty sure they scored on at least 3 of those. I was trying to go back and look at the numbers, but I couldn't find the right metric. And I don't think, as Goins said, we learned anything new about Illinois in this game. I think that we knew that they were a solid, just really veteran team that is going to be fine. That's going to win a lot of games this season. But I didn't come away just saying, "Oh, this is a juggernaut, world beater kind of team."
Herrings, I want to ask you about Danny O'Neal.
Yeah.
What do you think about? Is this Wisconsin's real savior at quarterback to put him above? Because there are a lot of teams that are rising right now. It feels like in the Big Ten, Michigan State with a good win over Boston College. Nebraska's playing some really good ball. Illinois is doing well. USC looks good. Washington played well this past week. Is Danny O'Neal the guy, neutral arbiter of all things college football? Roman, keep up, please. Ryan, is Danny O'Neal the guy to get Wisconsin into that upper tier?
Yeah, Danny Dimes, right? Like the moxie of a Trace McSorley with a little bit better hair. The guy looked great. Like you got to remember his first start in Madison. He was a freshman starter at San Diego State last year. 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio last year. 63% completion percentage. Can move a little bit with his legs. He's pretty good, actually. He reminds me actually of the archetype of Iowa State type quarterbacks. Guys that are a little undersized but have a pretty good feel, good intangibles, care about the game. Like really. Are just kind of gritty, move the pocket type of guys. He looked really good for his first start in Madison. Now, the Badgers had a couple other issues against Middle Tennessee State. We had a few issues with the offensive line. We couldn't snap the ball. Had a couple of those type of problems that.
Show of hands who thinks snapping the ball is important.
The ideal. So Danny O'Neal is not the type of guy that's going to elevate a team past those things. But he looked really good, and I do think it's possible the Badgers found their quarterback for next year with Danny O'Neal.
How about that? Just the way that they drew it up. Forget Billy Edwards. It was always about Danny O'Neal. It was always about Danny O'Neal. When we get back, we're looking ahead and making picks for Week 3 in the Big Ten. That's coming up next on the Locked On Big Ten Squad. First, this episode brought to you by our friends at Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how they craft every single model. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. They've got all the details covered. I'm a very detail-oriented guy myself. I'm sure many of you are as well, and that is just how Mazda rolls. So make sure you check them out. Like the players in the Big Ten, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. This episode also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season's here. College football's here. FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So if you want to spice up the Big Ten slate this week, which we're about to talk about in segment 3 of the Squad Show today, you can do that over at FanDuel. You have got lines, you've got money line, you've got point totals, all of which can be wagered upon over at FanDuel, with a bunch of other bets across the season as well. NFL, college football, they have it all. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. You can get $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Check them out at FanDuel.com. There were 9 of us, and 6 remain in the Hunger Games here. We call it the Locked On Big Ten Squad. Nick is still here. Jacob's still here. Craig's still here. Ryan's still here. Zach is still here. Well, the Zach who didn't have us all crying in laughter earlier, but we like him anyway. We definitely like him anyway. So let's talk about everybody's games going into the week. The big noon kickoff. Can anybody tell me what the big noon kickoff game is this week?
Oregon and Northwestern.
Oh, it's Oregon and Northwestern. That's exciting.
Gotta be
really
up early.
exciting. Wonder why.
Ain't no way anybody's picking Northwestern to win, right? I mean, they could cover a 28.5 point spread, I think was the last time I looked at it on FanDuel, but
They certainly could if Oregon sleepwalks, though. In Northwestern,
May I jump in?
Well, hold on. I was going to say. I want to.
No, let him go. You go, Greg. You do what you want.
I was just going to say it's going to be a 9 a.m. Pacific time kickoff for the Ducks. My entire life, that is the earliest I can ever remember a game kicking. I don't know that they've played in this window before, ever. I'm sure there was 1 or 2 other times. I just forget. But anyway, if you're looking for optimism for how could Northwestern do it, it's an early kickoff. You're in like a 12,000 seat stadium that's on Lake Michigan. Actually, it looks very cool. Now you may enter, Craig.
Okay, I was just going to say that the minus 28.5 is the same exact line that the Oklahoma State line was for Oregon, and they beat them by 66. So I think Oregon will cover it. I'm just spitballing here. And this Northwestern team only scored 3 points 2 weeks ago against Towson. Yeah, I think you got this one covered there, Spencer.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Nick, Purdue this week, USC. How does it happen? Just lay it out. Goins, we don't need that negativity up here in the squad. We're trying to support our, I suppose USC is a Big Ten team too. Trying to support your original Big Ten brethren in there. This is only USC's second season of the conference. Nick, give me a score prediction here for USC and Purdue.
So last year, USC travels to the Eastern time zone 3 times. All 3 of those games, they lose. That's Minnesota, Maryland, and then was it Michigan that they lost? Yeah, Michigan, Maryland, Minnesota last year. They travel to the Eastern time zone and they lose those ones. USC hasn't proven that they can win a game on the road yet. Going into Ross-Ade has been packed. Unlike what's going on in Bloomington, Jacob wants to talk about how the Hoosiers are selling out stadiums when that's not the truth. Ross-Ade is pumped up. Even against an FCS opponent, they'll be pumped up Saturday against USC. You keep it a low-scoring game. Win the time of possession, win the turnover battle, and anything can happen. Give it the Boilermakers 24-21.
Woo! Look at that. He's calling for a stunner of stunners this week. Goins, you have what is it? Panera Bread on Friday? Is that who you're playing? Did the Panera employees put together a football team and
something like that?
Yeah. Okay. That's what
don't
I
hate
thought.
on the in-state game of Indiana versus Indiana State. Okay,
That's true.
And
that's true.
It is on a Friday night, which is extremely weird. And Nick, just to be clear, the Hoosiers are selling out the stadium. People just aren't showing up yet. It's okay. They're just not all there. They're selling out. They're paying for the ticket. They're just not coming to the games yet. And that's okay. They'll be there next week when Illinois comes to town. Look, some places have a spread. Other places don't. Last one I saw was 48.5 for Indiana.
No.
Look, I'm not worried about that. Get in, get out. Don't have any injuries. Don't give anything away. Prepare for what is a top 10 team next week against Illinois. I'm good to go. Indiana wins by a lot.
48.5 is the line, according to our friends over at FanDuel. Craig, any other surprise picks you think roll out in the Big Ten this week? Sneaky one late Saturday night. Minnesota travels to Cal in an ACC Big Ten showdown. But there are a lot of games this week with a lot of really, really big point spreads.
And I know Minnesota's star running back Darius Taylor's got a hammy situation, although I think they're pretty deep at running back. They should be able to handle it out at Cal. And I have trouble trusting USC traveling. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I had a USC alum tell me today, hey, take the points on that deal. I really want to see how Wisconsin does at Alabama. I would love for something to happen there. I don't know. I can't go all in. I still haven't figured out. A couple of weeks ago, did Alabama lose to a bad Florida State team that won 2 games last year, or is Florida State recovered and was that a good loss? So we'll get a better barometer, I think, of what Alabama is by watching how they handle Wisconsin.
Ryan, how does Wisconsin try to handle Alabama? As much as one can, but apparently that's more doable than it used to be.
Craig brings up a really good point. I feel like we're still trying to figure out who Alabama is. I've been on a couple Alabama shows this week, talked to some Alabama folks, and it feels like they're trying to figure out who they are. There was some real lack of effort stuff in the Florida State game. That can be systemic. Alabama has a chance of rallying because Florida State was kind of a wake-up call and being really good and playing up to their talent level. They also have a chance of this thing going off the rails a little bit. The Badgers' offensive line has been really dinged up. They ran for 0.3 yards per carry in the first half against Middle Tennessee State. That's 0.3 yards per carry against Middle Tennessee State last week. You're not going to win that game. You're not going to keep it close if you can't go into Bryant-Denny and run the ball at least a little bit. But the Badgers feel really good about the defense. It's been a lot better this year. Daniel O'Neal is a guy that brings a little bit of his legs. If you think about the teams that have given Bama some issues, the Vanderbilts, the Oklahoma last year, it's typically teams with a quarterback that can move a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays. But really, I don't know why we're not talking about Nebraska. What is it? Houston Christian? Like that. A really interesting matchup for the Huskers here. I think a little bit of stuff from that game because I was really intrigued. Check
What's the line on that?
Houston Christian's head coach. They've never won a game against an FBS opponent. He said, quote, there are still a lot of firsts to happen. So really
Whoa!
Cool Nebraska for scheduling. I've given Jacob a lot of crap. Nebraska playing an absolute embarrassment of a team. There's no reason to ever schedule a team like that if you're Nebraska. But I know Badger fans are excited for this weekend. That's what I'll say.
It's a money game. It is. It's a money game. But they had a Power 4 opponent in their non-conference schedule. They played.
Listen, I'm not even going to allow you to finish that sentence. I love you, dude. Me and you are like Legos. We stick together on those things. But I am not going to let you finish that sentence. There's no reason for a team that's won national titles to ever schedule. In the Big Ten, the SEC is different. It's embarrassing. It's one thing for Indiana. They don't have history. Nebraska has a history. They've won titles. They should never schedule a team like that.
Well, everybody needs money to make the world go round, and Houston Christian is going to be the beneficiary of that. Seiko, not a tough matchup on tap for Penn State. Give me your hottest take for what's going to happen in the Big Ten this week. There aren't even that many Power 4 matchups. I tell you one that I think people should watch for at the moment just because vibes in LA are so low. New Mexico and the points on Friday night on Big Ten Network is highly intriguing. Jason Eck is New Mexico's head coach. He replaces now Utah offensive coordinator Jason Beck.
Oh,
just a fun fact I wanted to throw out there. Anyway, Seiko, floor yours.
Yeah, I guess that's where I'm looking because Penn State, again, doesn't have we're talking about Houston Christian, Nebraska, and it's like, do I really want to throw stones in my glass house here? But it's an in-state, kind of like Indiana. I guess the excuse can be, well, it's an in-state game, and this was decided years ago, so it's just kind of all come together. And for what it's worth, Penn State was supposed to play Virginia Tech this season as that Power 4 non-conference game, but that one got canceled because...
Who canceled it?
I actually don't know. It had something.
Oh.
I think Virginia Tech did. I think VT did because it was supposed to be a home and home, and then COVID, and then they wanted to reschedule, and Virginia Tech didn't want to reciprocate. So
isn't Brent Pry a former Penn State defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Oh.
Boo.
I know.
Boo. Yeah, get in there and boo the scheduling move. Goins, boo.
Imagine canceling future P4 games. What is wrong with that?
The audacity.
That's
As a Big Ten team, who could possibly do that?
That's sickening.
I guess I'm staying up late for... You're getting up early, Spencer. I'm staying up late for Cal, Minnesota. Is that the one we're thinking about here? Because Minnesota...
I think that's a fun game.
That's a field goal spread. There's really... Jacob and I have talked about it. We've hashed it out. This week 3 is just lame compared to. I mean, week 2 is great. Week 2 is must-watch TV across the board. So we don't know the good without the bad, right? So week 2 was so great because we have the likes of week 3 here. I'll be looking forward to Northwestern covering in the first half, and then Oregon finally settling in. I think Alabama wins comfortably against Wisconsin, and then Cal, Minnesota, if I'm still up. See what PJ Fleck can do out on the West Coast. I would think Cal wins that game, honestly.
I think Cal, Minnesota is actually the best game in the Big Ten this week. Like, I think it's going to be the most entertaining game to watch. The slate goes like this. Indiana State at Indiana, New Mexico at UCLA. I mean, that could be interesting. Oregon at Northwestern, Wisconsin at Bama, Central Michigan at Michigan, Houston Christian at Nebraska, Towson at Maryland. Maryland's going to be a 3-0 team going into Big Ten play, by the way. Villanova at Penn State, USC at Purdue. That could be fun, maybe. Norfolk State at Rutgers, Youngstown State at Michigan State, Ohio at Ohio State, Western Michigan at Illinois, Massachusetts at Iowa. Maybe Iowa's favored by 35.5 points.
Will they score 35?
That's what I was wondering. Like, UMass is not scoring a point in that game. But is Iowa scoring 25 points?
No, Mark Gronowski won't hit 100 yards passing in that game.
He hasn't yet, so that would be a first. Yeah, that might be.
But don't worry, Kirk Ferentz still the answer.
That might be one of my best bets on Locked On College Football later this week. And then it's Minnesota at Cal with the smallest point spread of the week, 2.5. It is a 9:30 p.m. or. Is that 10:30 Eastern? Sorry, 10:30 Eastern kickoff on ESPN. So should be fun. Nick Garvin, Locked On Purdue. Jacob Goins, Locked On Hoosiers. Craig Sheeman, Locked On Big Ten. Ryan Herrings, Locked On Badgers. Zach Sako, Locked On Nittany Lions. I'm Spencer McLaughlin from Locked On All Over the Place. We'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.